Mr. Strauss here. We're here to review some basic things for band. This is meant for students who have had at least 1 year in band and maybe just need a little bit of touch up on some of the basic concepts in music. So let's get started. So what we're going to review here is just the musical alphabet, parts of the staff, rhythm tree, basic note, and basic rest values. First, starting off, we have the musical alphabet. It starts on A and it ends on G. So you'll notice here it goes A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and then repeats back to A. Then B, C, D. If we go backwards, B, A, G, F, E, D, C, B. It really is that simple. Next, we have the staff. The staff is 5 lines. And we label the lines using numbers. Those numbers start from the bottom. So you'll notice here we have line 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then spaces 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now, you might be wondering, well, Mr. Strauss, what's this matter? I already know that this note right here is an A in bass clef, or this note right here is a G in treble clef. Well, yes, you would be right. However, sometimes when we get into more advanced music, we really need to know if you're playing euphonium, oh, I'm talking about the 5th line A, or if I'm playing clarinet, I'm talking about the 2nd line G, because clarinet players, they have a G that's way down here at the very bottom using ledger lines that extend the staff. And then euphonium players have this A here. They also have a first space A as well. Okay, if you get really good, you have an A that's above the staff. So we got to make sure that we're able to communicate quickly and effectively. That's why we number them. So remember, from the bottom going up. Pro tip, if it's above the staff, we call it above the staff. If it's below the staff, we call it below the staff. Now we have clefs. The treble clef takes care of all the high instruments. The bass clef takes care of all the low instruments. Now we have the time signatures. Time signatures tell us how many beats are in a measure. We're not going to go into the bottom note right now because that's a more detailed lesson that we're going to handle later. But you'll notice here with the time signatures, right up here, this top number, it tells us that there are 4 counts in a measure. For this one, it's 4 counts. For a C, that also means that it's 4 counts in a measure because 4/4 time became so common that composers got so lazy, they just said, I just want to write a C because it's common time. Then we have 2/2 time. That means there's 2 counts in a measure, and we call that cut time. So you have the C that got cut in half. Right here, 2/4 time. So that means there are 2 counts in a measure. 3/4 time means that there are 3 counts in a measure, and 6/8 means that there are 6. That top number always just means how many counts are in a measure. It's super important when counting rests.
This content is brought to you by To Practice. Are you struggling playing your band music? You might need To Practice. Talk with your band director for more information on To Practice.
Key signatures tell us what notes are flat or sharp all of the time. Because composers, as my teachers always used to tell me in college, composers are lazy people. So they just want to say, you know what? All of the Fs are going to be sharp in this piece. So they just put it in the key signature and then they don't have to mark it the rest of the time. Here are all the key signatures for treble clef. So right here, that means Fs are sharp. Here, F sharps and Cs are sharp. These are the ones you probably see the most. Bs are flat here. And in this one, Bs and Es are flat. And that's the exact same in bass clef. We have no flats and no sharps. And then we have 1 sharp, meaning F is sharp, 2 sharps, F sharp and C sharp. Then we have flats. Here's 1 flat, meaning B is flat, 2 flats, meaning B and E are flat, and so on and so forth. You'll probably see the flats more in all of your band music. Accidentals are when a composer accidentally needs a different note that isn't in the key signature. We have 3 different accidentals that we use in band. We have sharps, flats, and naturals. Sharps raise the note by 1/2 step and will make it a different fingering on your instrument. Flats will lower the note on your instrument by 1/2 step and will also change the fingering. And naturals will cancel the sharp in the flat. So in real life, you'll see right here, even though there's nothing here, the key signature says that nothing is flat and nothing is sharp. We have our clefs, and then we also have a time signature. That time signature is telling me that there are 2 counts in a measure. Now, as we keep moving on through the music, you'll see here that we have a couple accidentals. So the composer accidentally needed a G sharp to make the piece sound right.
This content is brought to you by To Practice. Are you struggling playing your band music? You might need To Practice.
Back to our original content. Now, the rhythm tree is something that shows us all of the relationships between the different notes. And in these upcoming slides, we're going to talk about how long each note is and how each note is related to each other. Let's get started. The whole note and rest are displayed here. The whole note, I like to call it just a donut. It's got nothing attached to it, and the rest hangs from the line. Some people like to say that it's strong enough because it's worth 4 counts to hang from the line. The half rest and half note are a circle with a hole in it with a line extending from it. The half rest sits on the line. It gets 2 counts. Now we're going to go back to the rhythm tree and take a look here. You'll notice that if we have the rhythm tree, we have 2 half notes that equal a whole note. 2 plus 2 equals 4. So, moving on. Now we have the quarter note and the quarter rest. We filled in that hole with the line on it. We have this squiggle for the rest, and it gets half the value of a half note. So 2 divided by 2 is, you guessed it, 1. The quarter note only gets 1 count. Now, let's see how it fits into the rhythm tree. So we have here a pair of quarter notes. If we add those 2 together, we get a half note. And the same thing here. If we add these 2 quarter notes plus these 2 quarter notes, we get this half note and this half note. And then once we add those together, we get the whole note. When we get into more advanced music, this becomes more and more important for you to understand the relationships between the notes. Finally, we have the 8th note in rest. It gets 1/2 of a count. Some of us count it 1 and 2 and some bands count 1 te, 2 te. Either way you look at it, it's all right. Just make sure you do whatever your band director asks you to do. When we put those together, we have 1/8 note here and another 8th note here. 1/2 plus 1/2 equals 1 beat, which equals that quarter note. Now we have another pro tip. This is 2 8th notes. Those 2 8th notes are connected together by a beam so that we can see it and group it in our eyes as 1 count. Okay? Make sure that you're careful when you are talking about notes with your teacher. Now, to finish it out, we're going to go through a couple more parts of the staff. We have the staff, which is the 5 lines. In order to divide those up, we use bar lines. You can see those pointed to right here. Once we divide up the staff with bar lines, we get measures. Here's an example of 4 measures of music. Now, something that comes up in a lot of your music is the repeat sign. We might need to review on this. You repeat everything that's inside the repeat sign. So that means that you start and you play to the end of the repeat sign. When you get here, you jump back to the beginning repeat sign, which is right here. Then you go and play all of those measures again as if nothing happened. So again, we start at the beginning, we play all the way through until we get to the end repeat sign. That bounces us back or jumps us back to the begin repeat sign, and then we continue to the end as if nothing happened. And just like my presentation, every song must come to an end, and this right here is an end bar line. This also indicates the end of the song and the end of this presentation. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to ask your band director so that you can be successful in Band 2. Bye-bye.